Hello and welcome to the Socal Watches podcast, episode number 50. I am your host, Jody, and I'm here with my two special guests today, Miguel and P. Ross. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing great. Thank you for having us.
Doing great. Thank you.
No problem. Welcome to my show. Welcome to my show. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Back to reality.
Hey, thank you so much for being on the show. This is such a big honor for us. Like I told
Absolutely.
Pete, I'm like, we're gonna hit episode 50. What are we gonna do? We've been doing this for a little over a year, the podcast, and we've had tremendous success. A lot of people, a lot of microbrand owners and watch enthusiasts and everybody, males, females, everybody. And we're like, Jody, but he's probably gonna say no. And I reached out to him, he said yes. I was like, oh my God, we're freaking out like little schoolgirls.
No, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the invite. It's nice to meet you two guys, and it's nice to chat hopefully about watches and whatever else over the next hour or so.
It's all gossip. It's all going to be gossip.
Gossip. I know. Hey, there's no shortage of gossip in this community, is there? For a bunch of fully grown men, there is so much gossip.
Absolutely.
You would think we were women.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's customary for P. Ross to introduce the guest, and I know this is a little different, but P. Ross let's stick with tradition. I mean, he deserves a proper P. Ross introduction. So why don't we make it happen, man?
All right, well, let's make it happen then. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we have a legend in the building.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We have one of the greatest watch enthusiasts on YouTube right now.
That's right.
From Just One More Watch. And when he says just one more watch, he means just one more watch. We have Jody.
That's
coming
right.
From down under.
That's right.
Jody.
Welcome, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. That was an intro. That was worth it. That was worth coming on just for that.
Well, thank you. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, we've never done this on the show. We never drank on the show, maybe water or whatever. But for the first time, tequila and some soda right here in honor of you, Jody.
Hey.
And what are you drinking?
I am drinking Woodford Reserve, straight out of Kentucky.
A nice bit of bourbon. I've got
a little Patron right here, son.
I've got an instant coffee in a Peppa Pig kiddies mug. So cheers. I'll drink to that.
That's so Jody.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Man, so Jody, for anybody living under a rock, I mean, seriously, if you're into watches, you know who Jody is. But just in case there's a few people saying, I don't know who this guy is, why don't you do a quick just introduction and let everybody know who you are.
Well, my name is Jody Musgrove, and I am Just One More Watch YouTube channel. It's only me. I haven't really involved anybody else too much in the channel over the last few years that I've been running it. I'm also on Instagram as @Just One More Watch. Probably don't take Instagram quite as seriously as I should. I'm there occasionally just with whatever's on my wrist on the day. And also I've tried to do Instagram live a few times recently. I get a lot of watches delivered, I guess. So I've tried to do a bit of an unboxing.
Very cool.
I've been making videos on YouTube for 4 years now, but really the last 3.5 years seriously.
Cool.
That's crazy. I know you put out so many. How many videos a week? A lot.
Oh, three videos a week. Yeah.
Woo.
Every week for 3 years now, which is quite hectic. Pretty tough schedule.
That's insane, man. And before we move on, P. Ross, I forgot wristwatch check. Jody.
Oh yeah.
What are you wearing?
Oh, I am wearing today. I've just been making a video about this morning. Maybe you can identify it on the webcam.
Absolutely.
It's Horus. This is the brand new Horus Caliber 400 Aquis.
Yeah. Nice.
So I've got a kind of friendship with the guys at Horus Australia. They're really good guys to work with.
That's cool.
And they've loaned me a whole bunch of stuff over the last couple of years. And they sent me this about a week ago, and I totally missed the embargo. My man at Horus Australia got totally confused about when it was supposed to be, that the covers were unveiled on this thing.
Yeah.
So I should have had a video up Friday night at midnight, or I thought it was Friday night, but it was actually Thursday night. So I'm just going to finish it off tonight and upload it. But gorgeous watch.
Yes,
whether
it is.
it's worth, I mean, I talk in the video about whether I think it's worth spending the extra money on the new Caliber or whether you should stick with the Solita, because it's a lot more. It's 50% more for the new Caliber.
How long have you had that in your possession? A few days, a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I've had it for a week or so. You know, it's materially just the same as the other Aquas, but with the new super duper movement.
Right.
Have you noticed any? I know your video is coming out, but have you noticed any real difference with the movement? Or
no, it's just the same, but with a super huge power reserve, and you know, it's nice and accurate. I've had it in the time grapher, and it's pretty much
like a 5-day power reserve, right?
5 day, yeah.
5 day power reserve, yeah.
And
So
10-year warranty, anti-magnetism,
10-year service interval. You know, it's got a great set of tech specs, but you pay 50% more than the Solita powered one to get those tech specs. So that 50% could be a very nice collection around your Aquas. So it depends how much money you got, I guess, as always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And this is my sentiment. I might be completely wrong, but I know that Horus has been undervalued for such a long time, and they've been really making a push with their social media, with influencers and everything, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Is it fair to say that eventually they're going to make a way with third-party movements, introduce their in-house movements to all their watches, and maybe increase the prices and become more of a premium brand?
Yeah, well, maybe yes and no. I think what they've done interestingly with this one is they haven't killed off the old Aquas. So you can still buy the one with the Solita-based movement in it, which I think is a good move for them, because people can make their own decision. They can decide whether they want to go in-house for the money or whether they want to stick with the, you know, easily serviceable, replaceable Solita-powered one instead. So clearly they're moving up scale. This is a statement of intent for them as much as anything else, that they're where they're going in the future. I reckon they'll try and push up in terms of price, but I think they won't lose sight of the. I hope they don't lose sight of the kind of value. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, cool. P. Ross, what are you rocking?
The vintage Loris.
Okay, cool.
On a blue Dakota watch strap.
Very nice, man. Well, I just kept it classy. I mean, this is what got me really into watches. Classic Socal SKX 007 Strapsco strap. Yeah. So I haven't worn this in a while, and I was like, I need to bring something special. And this is special to me because it's what kind of got me into watch collecting. Nothing real special about the movement. Everybody knows that, but it's just such a charming watch, you know, and I'm in love with it, you know, still 3 years later. So.
Is that how long you've been into watches?
Yeah,
the last few years?
So it's crazy, right? So I've been into watches my whole life, like everybody likes to say. I'm 37 years old, and I've had Casios, and I still have my Casios from when I was little, my data banks. And so I like aesthetically, I like watches. And then I kind of moved away and got really into cars, automobiles, and all that stuff, fixing them up. And then it wasn't until, you know what, it wasn't 3 years ago. My son is 5 years old. He was in the belly when I started looking at watches, and it was TGB. Honestly, it was TGB. Yeah. I went down the rabbit hole, and he brought me into watches, and I was just looking for a cool watch. But then I was like, movement, what the heck is that? What do you mean automatic? And what do you mean quartz? And what's that all about? And once you go into that rabbit hole, oh God. So anyway, this is the first watch I picked up from Mark, Long Island Watch. Shout out to Mark, he's a cool guy. And ever since I got it, man, it just completely changed my life. So yeah, it wasn't 3 years. It was probably close to 5 years ago. And I just been going down the rabbit hole. And then YouTube for me about, God, going on 2 years, and the podcast for about a year now. What about you, Pete? You've been collecting for a minute now too.
Yeah. Mine was kind of different because my father bought me a Timex back in the day. My father, he had a Rolex Datejust. So when he bought me the Timex, it was kind of just like something that I just wore every day.
That's cool. Yeah.
And, you know, I would get watches here and there, but never like with the clairvoyance of like this Timex would be worth something. So I just kind of broke them all up and threw them up against the wall. Never thought about changing the battery. You know what I mean? And then it led me like a few years ago, about 10 years ago, I guess, my wife bought me an Invicta. You know what I mean? And I thought Invicta was great with streetwear. So I was rocking Invicta for a while. Then I went to Watch Gang. And then something happened. Like I got tired of Watch Gang. I got tired of Invicta. I'm thinking like, what else is it? You know what I mean? So I just started researching on YouTube, met this guy, you know what I mean? And I've been doing YouTube for about, altogether like 12 years because I have another channel, but I've been in the watch YouTube for a year, like constantly just doing it for about a year.
Yeah, for
you know
sure.
What I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just a shout out to, we shout this guy out so much, Dave, just to watch from Japan. He did something. He did something super special for us, Jody. I had 35 subscribers on my YouTube channel. He Ross had like what 30, 15, 30, something like that. All of a sudden, we wake up and this guy puts out 5 underrated YouTube channels, and I was one of them. And P Ross was one of them. All of a sudden, he started getting a bunch of subscribers. And it meant the world for us. And all of a sudden I checked out all these other guys and I'm like, shout out to every single one of them. And P Ross and I connected. I had just started the podcast. I brought him on because he was a huge Invicta collector and a Watch Gang subscriber. I'm like, that's gold for a podcast. I want that, So we did. And then I invited him. I'm like, you know what? You want to be my co-host? It's kind of weird running a podcast by myself. And he's like, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. So 50 episodes in, here we are, baby.
50 episodes. I mean, that's a commitment as well, because podcasting's different. You're there for an hour at a time at least. Yeah. And and you got to keep it flowing. It's a different skill set, I think, to making a YouTube video when you have the power of the editor. You've got the mouse and you can do pretty much what you like with your footage after you record it. But you only get one shot. You only get one shot at a podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And if you notice, obviously, we're taking this new format where we're recording things, putting it on YouTube. But for a long time, it was just our voice. But people really like this. And obviously, this is going on YouTube. This is going to go up on YouTube. So everybody listening, you could see this on YouTube and hopefully you enjoy it. But yeah, you're right, Jody. I mean, podcast is a completely different monster. And you need to be able to speak and flow and kind of read the guest. And every guest is different. Some people don't like to be asked certain questions. And it's really difficult to tiptoe around that when you're trying to flow naturally. And you're like, wait, don't ask that. Don't bring that up. It's difficult.
Yeah, it can. Especially when you have to go to work and come home and just do it just for the love of,
and then spend an hour recording a podcast. Yeah. Right. Well, look, open slather today. Ask me whatever you like. No guarantees that I'll answer, but go for it. Go for it.
You Ross started off.
All right. Let's see what we got.
This is a good question.
Right. There's no denying that you started the whole Chinese watch movement.
Mm-hmm.
What made you explore that sector of the market?
I think I can't take credit for the Chinese watch thing entirely. I think there've been guys into AliExpress and this type of watch long before I discovered them.
On YouTube?
Not on YouTube though.
Okay.
Maybe I was the first person to go there on YouTube, right. But there's Watch You Seek pages. There's the best of AliExpress and whatever. My entire channel is pretty much a series of random, fortunate coincidences, occurrences. I got an email. I must have been kind of 6 months, 8 months into the channel, and I got an email from a lady, or I assume she was a lady, I never found out, called Gina at gearbest.com.
Sounds like a lady.
Said, sounds like a lady.
Right.
I thought so. I wanted to be a lady, so she was female to me. And she said, "Hi, how you doing? I see you make videos about watches. We sell watches. Would you like $100 US worth of store credit to buy some watches and make some videos?" And I said, "Okay, yes, thank you very much. Yes, please." Right. And really, the first watch that I found was that Tevez T801 Rolex Submariner homage an automatic watch. I'd never seen an automatic watch, $22. Although I think, in fairness, I got the thumbnail wrong because they were about $18 US. I can't believe how much watch was possible. And I recorded the video. I actually, I said, look, it's a $20 watch. If you're prepared to take a risk on it, it's a $20 automatic watch. You still, regardless of how it goes, you still got a lot for your money. I remember I put it in a bowl of water, and it didn't pass the test. So you get what you pay for. But I uploaded this video, and it just went off. And within a week, I had about 100,000 views on that video, which was just incredible. And I thought, all right, well, that's great for my channel. I enjoy making the videos about, you know, budget content. The channel focus has always been on that kind of $500 or less end of the market. That's where I've tried to keep it. And right, well, there's something here. There's some fun to be had with these kind of super budget stuff. The next one I think was a watch with sapphire crystal for about $25, and then, you know, got through the GearBest catalog, found a few Cadisons and Guanchen, some of the brands that I still try and review. Right. And then I discovered AliExpress, and it's another rabbit hole. You know, so much stuff, so much stuff, and so I've tried to keep that consistent. You know, I review a $20 watch and people are like, why do you review cheap watches? You should review expensive watches. And I review an expensive watch and people are like, why do you review get back to the $20 watches? So I try and keep it balanced. I try and keep the Chinese stuff as well as the more expensive stuff up to the Swiss stuff. But yeah, it was just an coincidence to begin with, but there's just amazing value to be had if you choose carefully from AliExpress, from GearBest, from China. There's sort of straight to market stuff, Chinese stuff.
I agree.
Well, I must say that I did purchase the TVs because of you.
Did you? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But I got the green dial version. So
yeah. Do you still have it?
Yeah. I still got it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've still got the TVs. I've still got it in a drawer somewhere.
Right.
I'll never get rid of that one. It's one of those kind of watches that has meant something to me on the channel, has done me favors. So the TV stays.
Yeah, I kind of toyed around with it for a while. Like, should I get it? Shouldn't I get it? Yeah. Then I look at your video. Sorry.
That was so rude, P. Ross.
My bad. I forgot to turn the phone off.
I was silent.
You know, should I get it? Shouldn't I get it? And then I finally said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it came. Yeah. And it was pretty nice. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, for the price.
Yeah. For the price of a pizza, you can have an automatic watch.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, thanks to you, I picked up the Pagani design. Now, I do have to say that I'm not into homage watches. I think everybody knows that, and I'm not a snob at all because I don't even own a Rolex or anything like that. But I like watches to have their own kind of DNA. I know every watch comes from somewhere, and every watch borrows aesthetics from somewhere. I get that, but to me, an homage watch is too much like a replica, and we'll get into that later because we definitely want to ask you. But I bought it, and I see the hype around it. Right? It's you get a lot for your money, and I get it. It's just not for me, but I get it. You know what I mean? But I guess one of the follow-up questions is, you've done a lot of watch reviews. Can you tell us what's been the best watch and what's been the worst watch that you've reviewed so far?
Well, probably the worst is the easier than the best. You know, I send quite a bit of stuff back. I get stuff in for review, and I'm just like, oh no, it's not what it looks like in the renders, or it's not what it looks like in your press shot. So I try not to review. I try not to rubbish watches.
That's good. That's good.
You know, nobody needs that. Nobody needs somebody like me saying this watch is rubbish, don't buy it. I'd rather send it back and let them, you know, go elsewhere on YouTube or do what they like. I was reminded of a watch that I didn't actually review. I said, it's the first time I've ever done this. I'm not going to review the watch because it should never have been sold. It was a one called a Fonderia Navale Condor. It was a big bronze Zenith homage. They had sent 5 of them out to YouTubers, and all 5 had defects. Ooh. And I was like, well, you shouldn't be doing that. What do you think you're trying to do here? So I just sat in the chair, looked at the camera, and kind of went for it.
Yeah, I think I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Companies should not be, but if you're going to try and use YouTube, use social media as a platform to market your company, then that has a flip side, and it doesn't always go the way of the company. It doesn't always go the way they want. If the product isn't up to snuff, and if YouTube reviewers decide that it's not actually as good as the company says it is. And that's up to us, I think, as reviewers, to make sure that companies are held honest.
Yeah, no, for sure. We recently ran into a bit of hot water there with something in honesty and whatnot. And we just released a podcast talking about honesty and being honest in the watch world, whether you get free stuff or whether, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't talk about that. Like, I got paid, but I'm not going to tell anybody. Or you say something, but you're saying something in regards to specs or style or design because somebody told you that from the company, and you come to find out that that's an absolute lie. So
I watched your podcast. I know the watch you're talking about.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen that watch with a couple of other different brands on the dial. Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Moving on. So the best watch you've reviewed, my friend.
The best depends on the price. You know, there's great watches for $50. There's great Chinese stuff. I still go back to the Helm dive watches.
Yeah.
One of my favorite micro brands. And you know, whether I'm responsible or not, it's almost impossible to buy a Helm these days. I don't know why, but the guy who owns the company hasn't started making larger batches. He still makes 100 or 200, and I think he could sell 500 a time. There's a bun fight every time he releases them. Helm Vanuatu kind of reframed my expectations of what you could get for 300 USD. Just amazingly well built, well constructed, not a homage, original design. ISO tested by the guy who owns the brand. You get a hand-signed card thanking you for your business. Just amazing. Kind of the best of the micro brands for $300.
That's super cool. Yeah. Hey, micro brands all the way, man. And we've had some brand owners here, and it's incredible. I mean, I ended up buying a Notice after we had Wes, and just incredible design. And when I got the watch, I was like, what the heck? Like I've seen more expensive watches, and how is it that I got this for this price? And it's such beautiful design. It's well built. And furthermore, you get the customer service, you become part of the family, right? And you could talk to them anytime, and they're super cool guys. So
that's it. And those guys, are you both in Southern California? They're local to you?
They're local to me. They're local to me. Yeah.
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio, okay.
Yeah, but I'm in California.
There's a kind of big Californian micro brand scene, I think, led by the guys at Notice and a few others.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because of COVID, I mean, everything's kind of on hold. But yeah, they've invited me. Wes has invited me, and I haven't had the time to make it out there, but I will definitely love to, just because such humble people. Seriously, everybody, and like I said, we've had a lot of these guys on the show. It all kind of started off with, I think Monta was one of the big ones that we had. Justin,
Monta,
Notice, Fears watches, our friend Nick. I mean, we've had him twice on the show. Amazing stuff and amazing people, and they're just so humble, man. I mean, and that's the thing, that we would never be able to get somebody from Rolex here or Omega or one of those big companies, and if they come, they're just the PR people and they just don't care, you know. But these people, they pour their lives, their souls, their money, their everything into this, and to think that they take the time to speak to little people like us, it's incredible. You know, it means a lot. It means the world.
It's one of the nicest parts of running the YouTube channel, is that I have been able to chat to brand owners, and 99% of the interactions I've had over the last 4 years have been positive, because it's mostly men, though. It's such a male dominated, we referred to that earlier on. It's all guys, but good guys. And I've spoken to guys in France, Switzerland, Germany, the UK, Australia, all over the place, and they all do it because they love it. We're all here because we love watches.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, for sure. Absolutely. And I know there's more females coming into the game, maybe not as brand owners. I know there's that brand, and I'm sorry, I forget the name of the brand, but they're called the Neptune is one of their models. Laurier.
Yeah.
I know there are a couple, right? So we haven't had them on the show. Yeah, okay. So it's a husband and a wife, and then more females, obviously, in the space. Jenny L on YouTube, huge, and then Tennis too. I mean, the cats, obviously, they're friends. They're friends of the podcast as well. So
I think that was well needed. I think you see the popularity and the success of Jenny L. It's great to have a female face for women, and also for men, just to not look at other guys.
True. Absolutely,
it's absolutely true. And not only that, but in my opinion, it even inspires you, if you have a girlfriend, if you're married or whatever, to say, hey, I'm into watches and I absolutely love watches, but you don't want to hear a guy talking about watches. Here's the female, from a female perspective, and it may change things. Maybe you might get them into watch collecting or something. I don't know, So
definitely, it's been a good thing, and that's been something good to see over the last couple of years, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, no, for sure, and it will. They're trailblazing, the next generation of women, and this is incredible, and we love it. You know what I mean? And the cool thing about watch collecting too is that it's so diverse. I mean, look at all three of us. We're all from different parts of nationalities and different parts of the world. And when we're here, we have something in common: watches. Yeah. Whether you like a Rolex, whether you like a replica watch or an homage watch, at the end of the day, the core thing that we like is watches, right? So,
True. Speaking of replica watches, what is the difference, in your opinion, between a replica watch and a homage watch?
Yes, please tell us, Jody.
Oh, it's a very nice segue, by the way. I think two differences, right? There's one physical difference, and that's the brand name on the dial. But I think more than that, there's the intent behind the watch. And I think a replica is intent to deceive. It's there to try and tell you that something that's not. I genuinely don't think anybody buys a homage watch trying to persuade someone, trying to convince anyone else that they own something they don't have. All a homage watch says is that they appreciate the design, but maybe they can't afford it, maybe they don't want to spend the money on it, but they still appreciate what it represents. Whereas a replica, that's saying something different. I've never understood fake watches. It's like fake handbags, and I've never really understood why you'd want to pretend when you could just buy something else. You buy a Socal, buy an Orient, and enjoy that for less money than you could this kind of fake thing. So the brand name on the dial and the intent behind the brand name on the dial.
Right.
That's to me the difference.
My whole thing with homage watches has been like, I have a few, and I don't pretend that they're Rolexes or I don't know, Omegas. You know what I mean? I just accept them for what they are. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I like the design of them. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, hold on. I know it's a podcast, but we're on video as well. I have got
show us
within reach. I have got Guanchin $100.
Oh,
that
looks
good.
Nice. That looks
but one of the Chinese specials. I have got a Mark and Son GMT, which is sort of, but not quite. And I've got the ultimate super controversial homage, the Jeannot Ocean Rover.
Ooh, yeah. I was going to ask you, man. Nice. I was going to ask you between Jeannot and Steinhardt. I mean, those two brands, different, similar somehow.
I think Steinhardt are the kind of up there with the best of the homages. If you want something that has got, but Steinhardt makes stuff that has originality. They do a great diver's watch and a great GMT. They do a titanium, so you don't have to, even if you buy Steinhardt, you don't have to buy a homage. I bought my Ocean Rover at the beginning of the channel because there was so much hype around the watch and because there was so much controversy around the watch. And I made a number of videos. I kind of did a long-term approach with it. An amazing watch, just for the money you got. The way it was finished was incredible, the Mark I. And then the gossip, the big article came out last year.
I remember.
And I think a lot of people either deleted their Jeannot videos or they kind of backed away from the brand entirely. And I thought, well, I'm not going to delete my videos because I paid for that watch. I can see what I like about it, and I left my videos up there.
Right.
But there was always the smoke, and now there's the fire, and I'm not sure that they can come back from that as a brand. I don't think there's any. Right. Maybe the guys who would have bought the brand before the article will still buy the brand regardless, but I don't think they're going to find many new customers in the community given the association.
Yeah. So do you wear the watch? Do you find yourself wearing the watch or not anymore? Just kind of burn?
Yeah. Not anymore.
Man, that sucks. Are you going to sell it, or what are you going to do with it?
Again, I think it's a watch that's just going to sit in the box next to the TVs probably, and a few others that are, milestones in the channel life.
Well, let me ask you real quick, because I'm just curious. I mean, so many videos every week. How much money do you spend on a monthly basis on watches? And furthermore, what do you do with all these watches? I can't imagine you having a pile of just watches sitting there. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know.
Maybe I do. The room I'm in at the moment probably has 100 watches in it, which is maybe.
So watch story.
Thank you. Does that mean I'm not the only one looking silly? Yes. Yes.
This guy.
I'm probably a month away from State of the Collection. I do a State of the Collection in late November, and usually there's a kind of panic sell where I'm like, come on, Jody, you cannot show people this many watches. You need to sell a few. And this year it's just gone wild. It's just too many. But all year this year, I've been trying to do 3 videos a week. I try and do 1 borrowed, 1 bought, and 1 sponsored to try and kind of balance out the content.
That's cool.
Now that means I'm buying 50 watches a year, or maybe not quite, but maybe a number of watches. I guess when I first started the channel, I started buying like the cheap Casios and thinking, how many views do I need before the Casio is paid off, and trying to work that way. But now as the channel's getting bigger, I know that I get some Google ad money from making the videos.
Right.
I can buy a Seiko for $350, make a video about it, sell it for $250, and buy another Seiko. And I'm okay with that because I'll have made a couple of hundred off the video. So it kind of balances it out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Allows me to keep the content going. But I have found myself not blinking about spending more money on watches. You know, that my threshold has gone up since I started the channel. Maybe because I know I can get rid of them easily if, you know, make a couple of videos and move them on. But yeah, I spend some US dollars, maybe 500 a month, sometimes maybe a bit more than that.
Wow.
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I mean, I guess you don't get in trouble with your wife because all the money's coming from the business, if you will. It's not coming out of your own money, your bank account. So
my wife gave up entirely about 2.5 years ago. She just gave up.
So at this point, I know that's right. So at this point, do you think that you are an addict like us, or?
Great question.
I think
it's okay.
It's okay to admit.
It's okay to admit it.
My name's Jody. I'm a watch addict.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I've always had tendencies to collect and to over collect. I've seen that throughout my life with bikes. You know, I own 7 push bikes. Mm-hmm. Who needs 7 push bikes when you can only ride 1 at a time? Who needs 100 watches when you can only wear 2 at a time? But yeah,
right.
Yeah, but now I've got the channel, and that's my ultimate excuse. I can say, well, look,
it's cool.
It's for YouTube. It's not for me. It's for YouTube.
It's for YouTube.
Right.
It's for YouTube. It's for YouTube. It's fine. It's fine.
That's what's up.
I noticed that you do buy a lot of watches, but it's mostly for the channel. But how often do you buy a watch for yourself and say, no, this is for me. Like, this is for me to keep, and I'm going to spend a little bit more.
Yeah. The last one I bought, I've actually got one of the relatively new Socal Turtles, the Willard reissues.
Those are nice.
I got a good deal on one, which took ages to arrive, and I think it should be here next week.
Okay.
And the one before that I bought with an intention of keeping was a Doxa 200. So that was about, I got it slightly used for 1,000 Aussie. So a good. I know I could sell it for 1,000 Aussie. So I was
that's great value.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? But I gave it a bit of a hard time. I reviewed it and gave it a hard time. So it made me, that particular watch made me think about whether I give a harder time to something that is bought, borrowed, or sponsored, and the different ways that you treat the inevitable kind of subjectivity that comes into your watch reviews, depending on whether they're sponsored or you've borrowed it from a friend or you borrowed it from somebody you don't know or you've paid money.
For sure. And it's a fine line to walk, in my opinion, because now that my channel is getting a little bit of traction and the podcast getting some traction, people are reaching out to us and they want to let us borrow watches and whatnot. But it's a fine line to walk because you want to be objective and you want constructive criticism, but you don't know how the company's going to take it and if it's going to burn the bridge and people are going to go like, oh, no, that was it. Like, I'm not letting you borrow anything. But at the same time, you need to be honest with your audience because you don't want them to spend their money and then go, well, what the heck? What was Peter and Jody and Miguel recommending? That this is garbage? For sure they got paid for this.
Right. But it's also scary too when you think about it. When you have something and you know that it's trash, but then it has fanboys, so then you have to deal with that too. You know what I mean? So
Invicta comes to mind. I mean, you know how that goes.
I didn't say that, but yeah, you could say that. Invicta have a big following, but also their watches have a big kind of group of detractors as well. I've only ever reviewed their Submariner clones, the Pro Diver and the 1953. They're the only two Invictas. I'm not really into the other ones, so leave that. But there's plenty of guys that love them.
Yeah, Jody, you should review a Venom. What are you talking about? This is the greatest looking watch out there.
Those 53. You know.
Yeah. P. Ross actually.
50 millimeters. You
How
know
many
what I'm
did you
saying?
own, Ross?
Well, I'm down to one now.
He sold them all. He's been selling
a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and buying other stuff. You know what I mean? But it's all good.
More respectable stuff.
You know?
Not that Invictus not respectable. Like we're not going to get in trouble here, but
nothing wrong with it. If you love it, if it speaks to you and you enjoy it, then that's all that matters.
I mean, and I think the Venom that I got, I'm actually gonna keep because I kind of like it.
But it's sentimental value for you as well. It has some attachment, so that's okay.
Right.
Pete. That's okay.
Oh yeah,
that, man.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Word up.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. So we already know you do 3 videos a week. Right?
Yes.
So how many videos are already scheduled at any given time?
None. I am none. No, I'm the kind of hamster scrambling on the wheel. You know, I generally record a video and then I hit upload. I try and do a Wednesday, a Saturday, and a Sunday.
Okay.
But I generally do the Wednesdays on Wednesday and half of the Saturdays on Wednesday, and so the only time I ever have videos uploaded in advance is when I'm going on a holiday, and I still do 3 a week, but I try and so that week before I go on holiday, I've got to do 6 videos to try and do for the week. But it's it takes a lot of time. So where do you find the time? And I'm always a bit last minute. I'm just slightly disorganized, so that's how I've always done it.
So I've always wondered, just because you do, I envy your style of videos. You're so fluid, and it seems like you rehearse everything. And I know for the most part you probably don't. You're just kind of, you have the bullet. I'm assuming you have bullet points. You know what you're going to talk about, and you just kind of spitball, right? You just kind of freestyle everything, and just that's how it comes across. I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't think I've written 2 scripts for 2 videos, where the one where I did the kind of, is this Seagull 1963 fake?
Because
it was
a great video.
It was complex, it was a real kind of story to
Absolutely.
it. And then the top 10 budget movie watches, which I did a few months ago. I felt I needed to do something. But no, I never write scripts, I never write notes. Maybe I'll rehearse it over the course of the week when I'm driving my car or I'm riding my bike or whatever, and I'll know kind of what I'm going to say. But no, I just kind of off the cuff, which, the power of editing, you can record something 5 times, get it right in the 5th time, and it's a painful process.
Yeah.
But then when you go to edit it, it looks beautiful. It looks like, it's the most natural thing in the world, even though it isn't always. Some are easier than others.
So paint the picture for us. How long does it take you to record a video? You pick up a watch, say, I'm going to do a review of this, and you turn on your camera and your lights. Yeah. How long does it take you? Not to edit, just to record. Over an hour, 2 hours?
I think over, not all that long, maybe 30 minutes for the top-down stuff and 10, 15 minutes for the
hello
for that stuff. But yeah, overall, once you start editing it, putting it together, put in the B-roll, the loom videos, the macro, the outdoor shots, the wrist shots, it becomes at least a 4-hour process for a really short video on a quartz. Up to, I did a top 10 this week. I did top 10 dive watches under $100. And even though that was quite an easy one because I already had most of the footage from previous reviews.
I saw that,
It still took me 10 hours end to end, really, by the time I put it all together.
That's crazy. See, and people don't realize that, man. And I guess kudos to, kudos to you. You have 160 something thousand subscribers. I lost count. You're gaining subscribers so quickly. I could have sworn the minute that you hit 100,000, it just kind of snowballed out of control. Like every time I would go on your page, it's like, man, this guy's just gaining traction like crazy, which is amazing, and I'm proud of you. And what I'm trying to get at, let me backtrack a little bit, is the satisfaction that you get is that you work so hard on a video, and most people don't even realize this, or even if they realize it, they just don't care, right? So you spend 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours on one video that's, let's say 10 minutes long or whatever. But when you put it out, you're kind of hoping for the best, right? And you're like, oh my God, this is going to do so good. I hope I get kudos from people. And I mean, for a person like of your caliber, I think you do. I mean, I don't even know how you respond to the comments. It must be insane. Like so many comments. It's crazy, but what advice do you have for smaller YouTube channels like ourselves that we spend so many hours in our passion and we put something out and just there's really nothing in return, and it's kind of, you know, it makes you sad, and it makes you think like, why am I even doing this? And then you remember it's a passion, but it gets to you. So what advice would you have for people like us, like smaller YouTube channels?
I mean, I guess it depends on the mindset that you go into that with, and whether you want. YouTube's quite good. They do that. They rate your last 10 videos. So you're only as good as your last 10 videos. I don't know whether you've got that on the YouTube studio, where you can see. I maybe spend too much time obsessing on the statistics.
Yeah,
I love, because YouTube, you could just disappear into the statistics.
Right.
And so I upload a video, and you wait, and you come back in half an hour, or you come back in 3 hours, and you're like, it's 8 out of 10. And you're like, oh. So even though I get proportionally more views than maybe you guys do, it's the same. You're still judging yourself against your last output. So it depends what you want from a video. I did a silly one this week about a kids watch, and I was hoping it would be well received, but it got a heap of dislikes by comparison to where normal videos would. So you never know.
I love that video. My son was laughing that intro.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
That's the thing. I have so much fun laughing at my own videos sometimes that it doesn't matter if. And I just thought, all right, let's get the next one. Let's get the next one moving, and let's do something slightly different. But it depends what you want from it. I remember the early days of my channel, and 2017 was a struggle the whole year to get anywhere. I mean, I remember getting 100 subscribers and being just so super happy with 100 subscribers.
I remember that.
I think the whole scene was a lot smaller then than it is now. I mean, even the big guys, even TGV, he had less than 100k subs. Teddy didn't exist. Time Teller was, I think Time Teller started just after me. Bruce Williams, Federico, Christian from Theo and Harris, those guys were still there, but they were much, much smaller. So the whole scene has really mushroomed over the last few years, and so many more channels have come in. I always used to say everybody should have their own YouTube channel, and now everybody does, which is a great thing, because there's so many more voices, so many more different attitudes, opinions, just different ways of doing things. I mean, you two guys have very different ways of presenting, very different ways of putting a video together. I've never seen anybody dance with 2 Casio Royales on their wrist, Piros, like you did. I've never seen that before. You are unique. You are unique in the watch space for that. But that's you. That's so you just bring your own style, you bring your own flavor, you find your own little niche, and I've tried to keep the channel improving bit by bit. I mean, I like this. I felt this was important to make it look a little bit posher. So this is what I did when I moved house, and I'll probably look at adding. I put a new microphone. I spent a good bit of money a couple of months ago on all of this. So you just, if you just keep chipping away at it, but it took me ages to get anywhere, and then once you get a little bigger, it just snowballs gently. But it's just been snowballing the whole time, really, just slowly.
Congratulations, man. By the way, that background, I love that background. When I first saw it, I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. That's what he was pointing at, by the way.
Yeah, fake wallpaper, fake sticky on wallpaper.
No way, really? Huh.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like polished concrete, but it's just a piece of wallpaper I ordered from a company in Brisbane, and I put it up, and then it fell off. I came in from a party. I'd had quite a few drinks. I came in from a party, and it had fallen off the wall. I was mad, and my wife was still giving me a hard time. She had to help me put it back up.
That's funny.
Nail it onto the wall. Anyway.
That's why you don't buy replica wallpapers. That's a whole another niche.
It's a whole spiral, exactly.
That's so funny. Well, let me ask you. You talk about your wife, and you talk about parties and whatnot, but you put 3 videos out a week, and it's crazy, right? Yeah. And you got to respond to everything. And on Instagram, you got almost 30,000 followers, which is crazy, because I could only imagine too the DMs and the likes and the comments, and it's crazy. How do you balance YouTube and Instagram life and your personal life? Is it difficult?
The rest of my life? Well, yeah, it is quite difficult, and it's not getting easier. I mean, I try, and there's a danger that you just get sucked in and you spend all of your time doing what you should be doing, which is reading comments, responding to comments, watching other people's videos, and really being completely into it. But I don't work full time. I study full time, so I'm doing a PhD, and I'm 2/3. I've got about a year or so left. So really that should be occupying far more of my headspace as well as my time than maybe I let it.
Right.
But it is difficult. I try and do YouTube on 2 specific days a week. Inevitably, it spills into the rest of the week.
Of course.
So, yeah, I don't have the answer to that one.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the end of PhD when then officially I will be full-time on YouTube. That will be my attitude has changed this year, as I assume many people's have. I used to work at Sydney Opera House. That was my main source of income for 5 years, and Sydney Opera House shut in March. And I have been completely reliant on my YouTube income.
Wow.
So it has made me change my attitude a little bit to the channel and to where I could see this channel going once I finish up with studies and in the years to come.
That's very cool. Well, you hit an interesting point. I mean, you don't work at the Opera House anymore. You're 100% now relying on this YouTube money. But is it fair to say, I've heard a lot of things, a lot of different people say about YouTube, it doesn't give you a lot of money. The money really comes from the affiliate links and from people you make partnerships with. Is that true for you?
I mean, I guess it's been interesting to watch all of the other guys who are now big on YouTube and see how they've set their channels up and what direction they've gone in. Because, you know, Timeteller, Straps, Vintage, either like TGV became Watchbox, so he attached himself to a big dealer network. Teddy has done a bit of everything. He now looks like he's going to be, you know, Teddy's an operator. Make no mistake. I don't need to tell you that. Teddy's an operator. Yeah. So it's been interesting. I don't have the time. I never felt that I had the time to start selling straps or anything else. So I've set my channel up with affiliate links. That was kind of how I made it work. But my biggest income source is the ad revenue.
Really?
So YouTube ads. Yeah.
Okay.
And I get 1 million views a month now, maybe since last November or so, for about the last 12 months. And that gives you a kind of steady base. And, you know, anything else around that is a bit of a bonus.
Wow.
But yeah, so but I look at it and I see guys with, you know, the Casey Neistats and these big YouTubers. They must be, if I can survive, then these guys must be doing
absolutely.
Really, I mean, just
100%.
Cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. So very cool. Thanks for being an open book, by the way. I know a lot of these questions are a little personal, but thanks for answering these questions. I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching are very curious. And yeah, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. There is a lot of people now joining YouTube, and it's pretty cool. I mean, everybody has their own voice, and although it seems like it's getting a little saturated, like our space, the watch space, what comes out of it is friendships, right? So friendships outside of the videos, and that's something we kind of preach and tell people, look, for our personal channels, we're not even monetized. We don't make nothing out of YouTube, but the good thing that came out of it is friendships. And we're talking to you. I mean, this is awesome, you know?
That's good.
Absolutely.
I've been trying to do, sorry, Peter.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've been trying to do, I'm kind of on my own down here in some ways in Australia. There isn't a massive scene. Archie Luxury.
I was just about to ask you, have you met Archie?
I have not met Archie. I don't think Archie would have too many good words to say about me if I did meet Archie. Different philosophies, shall we say.
Right. Yeah.
He's up in Brisbane. There's a guy, Ivan Perthwatch, over in Perth. And of course, Horology House was over in Perth as well.
Yeah,
and he was on an incredible trajectory. He was just heading for the moon. And then he did a bit of an Icarus, didn't he? He got too close and just, anyway.
Man, yeah.
So I've been trying this year to do a few more of these things to try and connect with people elsewhere. I did a podcast with a kind of video podcast with Ivan from Freehand Media. I did one with a couple of guys the other day in Western Australia again, just trying to do a bit more and try and kind of be more connected to the community, which is something I haven't really done all that much. But yeah, it's great to chat with people, great to meet people.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely.
So since we're on a personal level, right?
P. Ross.
Very, very personal level.
All right.
You know, I'm an OG, just one more watch fan.
Me too.
Thank you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Sure. We are. Okay. Now, you made a comment about TGV. And you know what?
Hey, stop talking about.
I thought it was hilarious when you was talking about the watch and you said, "Yo," but I don't have the privilege of being in the Navy Yard, and your facial expression was just classic. Is there beef? Do you know beef? Do you know TGV? Is there beef? What's up?
Is there beef? Well, there might be beef after this video, after this podcast airs. But
no, okay.
No.
No. We don't need that kind of heat.
No, I have had a few, tongue-in-cheek comments in various videos. I had a tongue-in-cheek comment in a Squale video that I did last week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I was like, well, here's something you might not have heard. It's a fully disclosed sponsored video of a Squale. So yeah,
right.
There's a thing. Oh yeah, there's a thing in Australia they call tall poppy syndrome. The flower that reaches for the sun, gets its head cut off. And TGV is number one. He was the first guy out there. He's the biggest guy out there. I have enormous respect for the way he puts his videos together and for what he has done to bring people into the hobby. I started watching his videos in 2015, which is why I started this channel. I would not have a YouTube channel if it wasn't for him.
Right.
I know you guys are the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He is a big influence. I mean,
oh yeah.
Parker Jotter pen right here because of that guy. Seiko SKX because of that guy. I mean,
I've got one of these bloody. Hang on. I've got one of these.
Oh, it is.
Pinel knives. Pinel knives because of that guy. I'm like.
Yeah. And I actually bought a Spyderco
because of that guy.
So, yeah.
He's a huge influence.
Huge influence. And the way he puts his videos together, his intros and whatever, just nothing but respect.
Right.
But there are some things that he does that I don't do, and I've never seen the pop-up saying this video is sponsored. I've seen it on both of your channels. I've never seen it on his. And it's just clearly something that he is not prepared to do. I don't think he'll ever disclose sponsored content.
And it's sad, man.
Right.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, we made a whole episode about it, and it's just not a great look. You know what I mean? But yeah, thanks for being transparent about that. Guys, so I don't know if you noticed that, but all of a sudden we lost connection. We were talking about TGV, and we lost connection with Jody, so we had to stop recording. And
TGV hit the red button.
Yeah, there was an electromagnetic pulse emanating from Philadelphia just at that point in time, I think, and it affected my computer.
Man, I don't want that to happen again. So we'll stop talking about TGV.
Okay, stop talking about TGV.
Talking about that guy, kudos TGV. If you're listening or not listening, kudos to you.
Number one, thank you very much.
Number one, cheers, TGV.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And if I'm ever in Philly, then I owe you opera tickets and a nice dinner. So hook me up.
Right.
Look me up.
Absolutely. Well, Jody, let me ask. So we talked about a lot of different things, but one thing that I'm curious about is what's next for you? Are you going to continue doing 3 videos a week or whatnot? Because you mentioned something that you want to do this full time. So what does that mean?
Yeah,
5 videos a week, or what does that mean?
3 videos a week.
Yeah, I don't honestly think I could do more than 3. I suppose I've got enough brands who want to see their products, who want to see their watches on my channel, that I could do more than 3 videos a week.
Oh, absolutely. I bet.
I think what I'll do if I end up going full time is I'll put more into the videos, put a bit more polish on them, a bit more editing, and spend my time that way. I guess I got a choice. Do I make 4 videos a week in this manner, or do I make 3 videos a week but make them a little bit more polished? And I think that's probably what I'll do. But also, I'll probably end up starting a micro brand. I can see that happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can see that happening. I think I'm going to start working on that at the beginning of next year with a view to having something to market towards the end of the year, because I know it takes ages, and I don't want to get it wrong. The last thing that I need to do for just one more watch as a brand is to associate myself with a micro project that goes badly wrong. But there's a whole other yeah, there's a whole other thing. There's a back end that goes with having a watch and selling watches and dealing with customers and quality control issues and shipping and lost packages. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I don't have time for at the moment, but that's hopefully something I'll be able to have time for. And it seems like a logical thing to do. I know what's good. I've got a fair handle on the market, and I know what I think people want from a watch.
Absolutely.
So have you figured out, are you going for a more vintage look or modern look in a watch? Or
diver? He's going for a diver.
I can't tell you. But what am I wearing?
Okay.
You know, what am I wearing?
Okay.
What do most people love?
I see.
Yeah,
I told you, P. Ross.
I see you.
It's dive watches. People love dive watches. I love dive watches. I can barely swim, and yet I love dive watches because it's the look and it's the, you know, that versatility that it comes with. It's the whole kind of attitude.
Absolutely. So let me ask you: is this a world exclusive? Have you talked about this in other channels?
I've kind of mentioned it. I mentioned it elsewhere, but I
How dare you, Jody? You should have saved that for the show.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, but no, that's something that I will definitely look into. Whether it happens or not is you know.
I hope it happens, and if it does, man, don't forget about us. We would love to.
I'll send you one each to review, because how can I review my own watch? I couldn't possibly review my own watch critically. That would be all kinds of wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, there's no reason why I couldn't show it on the camera and tell you what size it is, and you know,
for sure.
Yeah, I guess there's ways around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of micro brands, I mean, one question that I have, and I've kind of been wondering this myself, because I have been approached by several companies. Again, they're not offering any money, or they're not offering to send the watch for free. So I'm not that big yet, but I'm like, if I do get that big, how does it work? Like, what do you ask for the watch for free, or do you ask for a fee, or do you ask for both? Do you like, I gotta keep the watch and you gotta pay me? I mean, can you be kind of open with us and kind of let us know how it works? So is it different with every brand? I'm assuming it is. Some brands have money, some brands don't have a lot of money.
I mean, it is different with every brand. I guess I've built up relationships now. I've been reviewing various watches from the same companies for years, really, for 3 years or so. So some companies, and you know, obviously when you've got 1,000 subscribers or 500 subscribers, what you can expect from a brand and vice versa is quite different. So what you can offer a brand is quite different. So I think I've only done a couple of videos that I had to send the watch back, because I'm like, well, you know, what you want from me is you want me to show an interested, engaged, very specific audience your product. And if you're going to do that and you're going to hope to profit from that, then surely I should profit a little bit from that as well. So I've got a lot of free watches over the years. And at the beginning of this year, really, I decided that that was very nice. But if a brand approaches me and they say, we want you to review our watch, then I ask for a small fee in addition to the watch. Quite often the watch is a Kickstarter project. And so half of that, you know, I don't know when that Kickstarter project will eventuate, if at all. So that's kind of how I look at it. I ask for a little bit of money that buys my time. I worked out what my hourly rate is. Basically, it's my hourly rate at the Opera House translated into how long I put into a video. And that's what I asked for. If I approach a company, if I say, look, hey, I'd love to review one of your watches on the channel, then I don't ask for any sense. I feel like that would be a bit cheeky to say, hey, how you doing? I'd love to show your watch. By the way, you know, here's my fee. I think that's kind of, so that's how I've done it. But as I said, everybody is different. And I've heard reports of people asking for 4-figure sums to review a micro brand. And that's, well, I'm sure maybe it's still worth it for the micro brands, but I don't ask for anything like that.
That's insane.
Maybe you should, Jody.
Maybe I should.
You're totally worth it, man.
Yeah, but that's, you know, I get to, in some ways it's a kind of, even then people say no, people don't stop answering the emails. They approach me and I say, look, here's my deal. You buy my time, but you don't buy my opinion. I still reserve the right to say whatever I want about the watch. You know, I don't think I've ever done a watch review where there is no such thing as the perfect watch. Because if there was, it would probably be too expensive. So, you know, it could always be cheaper. And some companies aren't interested in that. They would rather have people who just say, oh, the great Americanism, they really knocked it out of the park on this one, which I've heard in more reviews than I care to mention. So that's how I've done it. How that will go in the years to come, you know, will be for me to decide, depending on how things go.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I think that's fair. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sounds completely fair. And I mean, you're growing your channel. It's a lot of hard work. So it's like it's your company, right? A brand wouldn't be expected, or wouldn't go to a marketing company and say, "Hey, promote my product for free." Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
And yet a lot of brands do expect that. They expect us to put time and effort into reviewing their product, showing it to that very specific audience. I've seen your videos, Miguel. Your B-roll is beautiful. Your macros, man, your macros are better than mine. You must have better gear. You get right in there. You make the watches look really good, and that's something that. Sorry, don't mean to upset you. And that's something that I think brands should appreciate and not expect us to put the time and effort in for nothing, for their benefit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Well, thank you for saying that. It means a lot. And from my perspective, to be honest with you, I'm not a video guy. I just learned how to use the camera. And to be honest with you, and I've said this before, and I'm candid with you, I use an old iPhone, and I bought the macro thing from Amazon, the little clip, and that's how I film my macros. So what you're seeing is from an iPhone, and just the lighting and my son running in the background. But because my subscriber rate is so low, like 1,200 or something, maybe they don't see the value in me, or say, well, yeah, his stuff is good, but his subscriber is not that great, so he's not worth that much money. And it sucks, because it's like they don't see our value. They just see a number, which kind of sucks, because you never know. We may blow up at one point, and if we do, we're going to remember that and be like, you know what? I don't want to review your product.
Yeah, you said this right at the beginning. It's about making connections. It's about making friends, and it's that balance where you don't want to burn bridges, because you never know what's going to happen. And I know that if I review a watch negatively, I have kind of burnt a bridge. I looked at that Mark and Son GMT a couple of weeks ago and said, look, it's not worth the money. I do not expect Mark and Son to be sending me any more emails in the future. So that's but there you go. I had to do the right thing and say the right thing.
Unless they're a good company and they say, you know what, we'll take that criticism. We're gonna change it. And, but
again, it's just my opinion. It is the opinion of one man after all. So they're not under any obligation to listen to what I say. So up to them.
Now, have you ever given your opinion negatively and the company actually got back with you and said they appreciate it? And
yes, some do. I think some of them do. Some of them have. I'm always complaining about clasps. I think clasps are a bit of a shortcut. Companies will spec on. It's the last thing they think of, and I think
I agree.
I've had a bit of feedback from some companies that they said, you look, okay, that was a prototype clasp, but we have spent more money. We've done a better deal, a better job on the production, which is always good, because it's it shows they're listening not just to me, but me representing their user, their end user, somebody who buys their product and wears their product.
Right.
I agree. Cool. I agree. All right, cool. Very cool. Well, we got about 10 minutes here left. So Jody, this is the portion of the show when we go into other things. So you could talk watches, talk whatever you want to talk about. Floor is yours. You want to recommend something, go for it, man.
Well, Miguel, tell me about your cars. I've always been into cars, but I've never tinkered, because I always thought if you get a car wrong, I've built my own bikes. I play around with push bikes, but they're cheap. And if you break them, then somebody else can fix them for $50. But if you get a car wrong, so what do you see as the correlation between those two hobbies? There seem to be a lot of guys that are into cars and into watches.
Yeah, no, there is, but the money difference is huge. Because you mess something up, or I'll give you a sad story real quick. So I'm not a mechanic. I used to fix up cars, meaning body kits and rims and lower and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I was into. So S2000, I was really heavy into Honda S2000, had two of those babies. I sold my last one when my son was born, and we had to get a family car. And my wife, we were actually just talking about it. She saw one of my pictures, like, oh my God, I remember going, top down nighttime, not topless, top down. Don't get it confused. But top down here in California, cruising, and it's just like no feeling like it, man. But anyways, it's not just the money aspect. I had a good friend of mine. He was working on his car, and we were younger in our 20s, and you don't have a lot of money, so you use the tools that you have. All your money's going into the car, and he jacked up the car to work on his differential, and the car fell on him and crushed him, and he died. So I don't see that happening with watches, right? You could open up a watch and work on it. And I know it's very grim, and I'm sorry, it's Halloween actually, so
yeah,
it's okay us talking about this. But yeah, it's different, but it's the same. If you like the mechanics and you like the aesthetics, that's the kind of correlation. But as far as money, I think, I mean, you could go really expensive with watches, but with cars, it gets really expensive really fast because you buy one thing, but then you put it on and then that thing messed something else up. You can't mess with the suspension without buying this other thing for the suspension and then taking it to get aligned. And it's just crazy. But yeah, it gets really expensive, but it's nice, man. I mean, I appreciate the mechanics of everything, right? The aesthetics and mechanics. So yeah, I would recommend it if you have money.
if you got money, I always figure, like, I've done some watch mods and I haven't owned a car that I haven't modified in some way. So there's definitely that kind of desire to make them your own.
Absolutely.
My last car actually was Acura TSX.
Oh,
I think that's
nice.
what it is, which is, it's a Honda Accord over here with a K24.
Absolutely.
K24. Oh, I loved it. Old car, but just so good.
Oh, absolutely.
I tinkered around with that one, got the VTEC going, and rechipped it and whatever else. So I think there's definitely they're kind of natural bedfellows, cars,
Absolutely.
watches. I don't know, maybe it's just guy hobbies, but I think people who are into one quite often are into others.
Yeah, I agree. Not everybody, but yeah, I definitely agree. Or it's a progression, right? You start off with cars and end up in watches because you're a little older and you have a family, or vice versa. You start off with watches, but then you get a little bit of money and now you get into cars, or whatever. You could have both, but it gets really expensive. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, P. Ross, other things. We got about 5 minutes, man.
You don't want to hear what I gotta say.
Star Wars, and our guest is wearing Star Wars.
Yes, I saw that shirt. I saw the shirt.
Star Wars.
Do your Star Wars talk. I'm out.
Listen, the Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. Have you watched the new?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I haven't watched it. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Don't spoil it for him.
Shit. Listen. It was when you see it, you're gonna be like, whoa. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What they have incorporated, the Easter eggs, it is great. It is great.
Yeah.
It is great.
I watched season 1. So season 2, I think, came out yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I got a couple of friends, my kind of best 2 friends here. We're all in our 40s. We're all kind of nerds. We all love sci-fi.
Right.
We try and get together one night a week, one night a fortnight, order in some pizzas and watch a bit of sci-fi. And we're going to save that and we're going to watch that together. So maybe Thursday next week.
Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think.
Okay. I will do.
And if you saw what I saw, because I don't think you're going to catch it. I don't think you're going to catch it. But I caught it. I caught it.
That's a challenge. I got to watch it twice.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Sounds like a plan. Well, Jody, where can people find you? What's your Instagram handle and all that good stuff?
Yeah, they can find me at Just One More Watch on YouTube. They can find me at Just One More Watch on Instagram, and that's about it. That's the kind of 2. I don't do Twitter because it's just a cesspit, but I do Instagram and I do YouTube, 3 videos a week.
Sounds good. P. Ross.
Ross Wristwatch Love everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Sounds good. And Socal Watch Reviews for me on YouTube, podcast, of course, Instagram, and in Spanish, Relojeando. So if you have some Spanish-speaking guys or girls.
Relo.
Yes.
I get the
there you go.
I get the last part.
Jody, can you do that?
I'm Scottish. We roll our R's.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we do that.
Well, anyways, thank you so much, Jody, for being with us. This was super, super special. Thank you for taking the time.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to talk to you both. Enjoy the rest of your, good luck with your channels. Keep going. You're both doing good work, and enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Enjoy the rest of that tequila and bourbon. I see Mr. Ross topping yourself up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Man. Last one. I'm off to my party. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Absolutely.
Have
stay humble.
Be safe.
Stay safe, my friends, and stay humble.